Deep in the heart of the rugged mountains, a group of seasoned deer hunters embarked on their annual expedition. Excitement filled the air as they donned their camouflage gear and loaded their rifles. Unbeknownst to them, an ancient and malevolent presence lurked within the shadows, waiting patiently to unleash its terror upon the unsuspecting hunters. As the hunters ventured deeper into the wilderness, the atmosphere grew heavy with an eerie silence. The towering trees stood like sentinels, their branches whispering secrets to the wind. The scent of damp earth mingled with the crisp mountain air, creating an otherworldly ambience. Unbeknownst to the hunters, their presence had not gone unnoticed. From the depths of the forest emerged a creature, unlike any they had ever encountered. Standing over 10 feet tall, its massive body was covered in matted fur, its eyes gleaming with a sinister intelligence. Its presence exuded an aura of ancient power, and it wore a tattered kilt, as if mocking the conventions of humanity. The kilted squatch, as the hunters would come to call it, possessed an insatiable hunger for blood. It had been awakened from its slumber by the scent of the hunter's excitement, and now it sought to sate its unholy desires. With a guttural growl, it began to stalk the unsuspecting group, its massive footfalls barely audible on the forest floor. One by one, the hunters became separated, their calls of camaraderie fading into the abyss. Panic set in as they realized their dire predicament. They could sense the presence of the kilted squatch, a malevolence that hung in the air like a tangible fog. The forest seemed to close in round them, the trees twisting and contorting with an unholy life of their own. The first victim was taken swiftly and mercilessly. A lone hunter, separated from the group, found himself face to face with the kilted squatch. His screams echoed through the forest, his body torn asunder by the creature's massive claws. The sound of crunching bones and the wet splatter of blood filled the air, chilling the remaining hunters to their core. Fear gripped the remaining hunters as they desperately sought shelter, their fear-stricken eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of the kilted squatch. But the creature was cunning, its movements stealthy and calculated. It seemed to appear and disappear at will, a phantom of death hunting their every step. As night fell, the forest was consumed by an impenetrable darkness. The hunters huddled together, their trembling bodies betraying their frayed nerves. They knew that their chances of survival were dwindling with each passing moment. Hours turned into eternity as the kilted squatch continued its relentless pursuit. It toyed with its prey, reveling in their terror. It would appear in the periphery of their vision, its glowing eyes piercing the blackness, only to disappear before they could react. The hunters were powerless against this supernatural force, their guns rendered useless. Finally, only one hunter remained. His spirit broken and his body battered, he stumbled through the forest, his breath ragged and shallow. The kilted squatch closed in, its malevolent presence palpable. With a final burst of adrenaline, the last hunter made one last desperate attempt to escape. But it was in vain. In the end, the kilted squatch claimed its final victim, leaving no trace of the hunters that had dared to trespass upon its domain. As the sun rose over the mountains, the forest returned to its tranquil state, as if nothing had ever disturbed its ancient slumber. Legend whispered through the ages of the kilted squatch, a vengeful spirit that preyed upon those who dared to venture into its realm. The mountain stood as a silent testament to its power, warning all who dared to tread upon its sacred ground. And so, the tale of the kilted squatch would forever haunt the imaginations of those who dared to venture into the depths of the mountains.